Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. We are on build day 27. Yes, pool construction, build day number 27 here in the backyard of Villa Feliz. And I know you're saying, James, what happened to build day 26? I know I'm going to get that question. They're going to say, I looked, we're missing an episode. Well, after the introduction of this morning's episode, we're going to talk about why we don't have a build day 26, although we had a build day 26. Confused? You won't be after the beginning of today's episode. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, in an effort to be extremely transparent on everything that we do on this project, whether we have successes, whether we have failures, everything is going to be disclosed. Unfortunately, a lot of times when people submit their videos on YouTube, there's a lot of editing that goes in, and they take out sometimes the bad things. And we know that in life, everything isn't a rosy picture. Occasionally you have a mistake, and that's one thing we do on our vlog, is we make sure that you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what kind of sets us apart from a lot of different themes, strategies that they do on many of the YouTube videos. So this is what we're going to talk about this morning. You see this area here. Remember, we did the coping 2 days ago. You saw that in episode 25. Well, you also remember way back when, at the very beginning, when I played around with the laser level, and I said that this side was much lower than this side over here. And I disclosed that to the foreman and to the contractor. And they said, oh, they would be doing build-up over here. They were going to address that. It wasn't a problem. Well, things kind of slipped and slided for a while. Things were getting done. But the build over here, when they were doing the build-up, they weren't meeting the height that I was saying it was down, because it was down at least 6 inches. I would say right around 6 inches. And they ended up doing a build-up over here around 3 inches. Somehow something slipped through the cracks, and they finished the coping. Remember how beautiful the coping looked here, and the coping went all the way around. Actually, I think maybe in 25 we were up to right around this point right here. I'm not really sure. Well, after the foreman went and did some last minute calculations while he had already completed the coping around here, he's like, oh, we have a pretty big variation. Those 3 inches that I was talking about, well, they were literally about 3 inches off from this side of the pool to the highest point in that side of the pool that would allow us to maintain 5 inches of water there, 10 inches here, 5 feet over here. So in an effort to correct this and do it correctly, the foreman took on that liability, on that responsibility of saying the buck stops here, and he ripped up all of this coping all the way around. All of it that was done. So kudos to him for acknowledging to us that there was a mistake, and for going to correct it properly. Now what did we lose on that? We lost about maybe 1 day, maybe a full day's worth of work, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure, but he did such a good job, and they stayed late last night. They stayed late last night, which shows they have the responsibility to make sure this thing is done properly, regardless if it has to take additional hours, manpower, and resources. So they went ahead and did that. And so today, you'll see they'll pull all this off here. They'll pull this. You'll see most of it's redone. I can probably show you. You see right there, they started reworking all of that, and they will continue finishing up here. So we lost about a day's worth of work, but because of the integrity of this foreman, he made sure that the right thing is being done here. Sometimes you hear me make the statement, you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Well, in that case, we took 1 step forward and 2 steps back, like I said. But that's just a fact. It's just a fact of building, construction. And I can't tell you anybody's project, any house build, and you can ask anyone in the Philippines, and it's not just restricted to the Philippines. Mistakes are made in every build, everywhere. I don't know of any build of this magnitude, of this scope, that has ever gone 100% perfect all the way through. You ask anybody, and if they tell you it went 100%, well, they didn't sit there with the contractor and the workers 100% of the time like we do here. Because things will get covered up. Contractors will make a mistake, workers will make a mistake, they will cover it up, they will fix it before you get to see it. But I will say virtually every project of this scope that there's going to be a mistake somewhere, and some pretty big mistakes, and some you don't realize until after the project is done, and then things start falling apart, like leaks in the walls, electrical problems, structural problems, and things like that. So anyway, this is to be expected. And what you do is you try to mitigate, and then you move forward. As long as you keep moving forward, that's the thing. So we're still waiting on the crew to get in here this morning, and then once they get in, we'll begin with today's episode, which I said is episode 27, build day 27. So waiting on those guys, and we'll get started. All right, so as you can see, we're 3 days, we're 72 hours into the pouring of the bridge. Now all the formwork is coming off. You can see the amount of room. Before it seemed like it was really busy and we didn't have much room here, but it looks like we're getting a little bit more room back just because all the cocoa lumber is now being removed. So there will be very little bit of buildup on this side, but the other side we're going to be putting a little bit more concrete to give us, remember I said, a perpendicular or 90-degree entry into the sidewall over there. So we have a nice big opening right here for us to go from the 4-foot area over to the 5-foot. It's getting better. Now an important aspect of any swimming pool is making sure that you have a clean area. It's like a little sidewalk area, so that when you get inside the pool, you can leave your shoes out here and you don't bring all the debris inside the pool. So that's what they're doing right here. Not the entire area around will have a walkway. Just a small area here, a small area back there, and a small area on that side. So any place that has vegetation will not see any of the walkway. That's going to stay green. This area is going to be cut out. That will continue to look just like this. We'll put other plants in here. Remember, the mangosteen tree will be removed. We'll find another home for the mangosteen later. So that's what they are working on today. They're clearing, they're moving some of the sod. We're donating our sod to our neighbors. The easiest one is over on John's yard back there. He's the lucky recipient of most of the sod because he's the easiest one to get to. So you can see back here on our neighbor John's yard, directly behind us, we've been donating a lot of our sod over to his because it was more cleared than our neighbor over on the other side, our neighbor Corey. But we did give him, he has about 3 meters of sod over there as well. So we're giving our sod away so that when our neighbors do start building, they already have a good head start and have some really nice sod on their properties. I gotta tell you, I'm impressed. They're doing the plaster coat on the outside and on the inside of the life support system right here. I know they'll be doing some waterproofing because we need to make sure that no water gets inside here. This is eventually going to be also covered with the boulders. This is the waterfall area right here. But I'm so glad they're doing this as a finish, so it's nice on the inside, regardless of the way it looks on here. I'm glad this is all being done. Okay, so I am really impressed. I just asked the foreman, how are you doing the waterproofing on the life support system here? So we want to make sure this always stays dry. This is very important because there's electrical inside here. And he said they will be doing waterproofing on the inside. They will be doing waterproofing on the outside. And then when they build the waterfall itself will also have waterproofing. So there's three layers of protection of waterproofing. I'm really happy that they take this job real seriously to get this thing done right. Now, something I thought I would like to bring up today has to do with you, the subscriber, you, the casual drive-by video viewer. And it has to do with comments that you make on the channel here. Now, we take all comments seriously, whether they be positive, saying, oh, thumbs up, everything is looking great. But sometimes, more importantly, it's to look at those of you who make a comment that might say something like, oh, something is too small, or it doesn't look like a pool, it looks like a pond, or something like that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative comment, but it's an observation, your opinion, and your opinion counts here on My PI Dream. And we've taken some of the negative comments, and we won't maybe we won't call them negative. We'll call them a difference of opinion. Let's call it that, difference of opinion comment. And we've taken those and we've actually made our pool project a little bit better. Case in point, I was reading comments last night, and several of you made the comment that said, oh, it doesn't look like a pool at all. It looks like a koi pond. It looks like a pond. And I don't know what the reasoning is that you said that it maybe looks like a pond. Maybe because it's the size. It's really not a really big pool. Or maybe because we have so many plants on the side and we have a bridge, because a lot of times when you do a decorative thing like Nessa's Zen garden in the front yard, she has a little walkover natural bridge that goes over there. Those type of accents. The waterfall make it look like it's a lagoon somewhere in the jungle of the Philippines. Well, for those of you who made that comment that said, oh, it looks more like a koi pond than a swimming pool. Well, I'm happy you said that, because that is the whole goal. The whole goal of this swimming pool is for it to look like it's in nature. So thank you very much for making that observation. That means our goals are being achieved. Alright, so here we are just after lunch. It's just after 1 o'clock, and we got a little bit of rain coming down. Not too bad, not enough to stop these guys. So you can see one of the things that they're doing right now, they're tripping up all the loose concrete that's on the bottom. Now this is the area that they were mixing. They were mixing the concrete for the bridge, for the wall, for everything like that. They do everything on top of the original layer of the concrete that was poured during the big pour. But the loose layer, or I'll call it the loose layer, the layer from the residue that's left over from the concrete mix, it's not stable. It's just a thin, maybe about this much, maybe about a ½ inch or less. And it's not a good layer to do your foundation for your swimming pool tiles later on. So what they do is they'll chip all of this up here, they'll remove all the unstable base, and then they'll be able to put the base that they need for the tiles later on. Now what these guys are working over here, Ponciano is going to be moving all of our plants, our banana plants, from this area right here, and we're going to put them over onto the next lot over. We're going to put those over on John's lot. Now John will get some of these because these are very special bananas. These are either Lakatan or Lantundan plants right here, banana plants, and they are very desirable bananas. So while they're growing over there, if we need to transplant any back here later on, once all this gets done, we can take the babies, which are these little sprouts on the bottom, and we can bring those back here. So John and my neighbor over here, Corey, they can have some of the plants, and as soon as Gerard and V move on the lot across, they'll be building in January. They can also, if they want to take a pick from our banana plants over here, they can take a pick from them as well. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and move all these. Plus, we also have a camera that's up here. You see the camera, and the camera shows the pool, and we don't want to block the view of the pool with these banana plants because the leaves get so big you won't be able to see back here from the CCTV cameras. Something important that we've talked about in the past, but since we're here, you see Ponciano removing the baby seedling. You see these little roots that are on here? As long as you have roots and roots on the bottom, you want to make sure you bring that away. That is almost 100% success of a transplant from this area to another place. But if you cut it off too much, if you cut it off, say here, and you don't have any of the roots, chances of success are probably maybe 10% or less. Did I mention it was rainy season? So you can see, even with the rain, these guys don't stop for anything. But we do have a few dark clouds still up there, and the rain is still coming down a bit, and it's after 4 o'clock, so it's not going to be much longer before the team here are packing up and heading back to the apartment. Tomorrow is another day, but today was a successful day. Today, 1 step forward and no steps backwards. I'm happy about that. Again, I said at the very beginning of today's episode, these things happen, they're expected, but as long as you recover and you keep moving forward, eventually you'll finish your project. We're not going to do like a wrap up today because it's raining out there, and I'm already wet. I got banana, you can see right here. The banana trees are gone from behind the little lanai that we have here. I was working with the gardener to relocate the banana plants, and I'm covered in banana jelly stuff on here. It's all kind of gooey, sticky stuff. I need to change my shirt here in just a minute. Okay, well, tomorrow is going to be build day. What is tomorrow build day? Build day 28? 28? I think it's 28. I think it's build day 28. I will put a comment if I made a mistake. So we are getting close to the end of the month. 30 days. We're getting close to that 30-day point. And if you remember, when I did the estimate of this pool project was supposed to be between 30 and 45 days. Now, I asked the foreman about what the upcoming things are going to be done, and he said basically by the end of next week, towards the end of next week, tiling. This should be tiling. We should start to see inside the swimming pool. We should see tile going up, and that'll be an exciting moment as well. But tomorrow is another day, hopefully a sunny day. So until tomorrow, if you enjoyed today's episode, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart, bottom right hand side of your screen. You will be subscribed and notified next time I upload a new video. So until such time, from right here in the Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.